This lesson is on assigning values to PHP variables. I've created a new form here to be able to illustrate this. So I've got my first name, last name, and a new field, my age, 51. Now I'm going to click the button, and it basically says, okay, you're Steve Perry, your age is 51, but I bet you're really 56 and were born in 1956. Well, it caught me. I really am 56. Let's go ahead and look at the code and see how this works. Here's the form. No great excitement here. We've got the first name field just like we've always seen. The last name field looks the same as the first name field, it's just given a different name. And the age field is the same kind of thing. It's an input type equals text, but I've given it a size of 3 because there's not many people that are older than 999 years old. So that ought to hold the information we need. Let's go ahead and look at the PHP code that's called, and that is processing this. At the very top, I gather the information, the first name, last name, and age, into the variables. Now, let's look at the first assignment. Just like in mathematics that you learn in grade school, the things that happen on the right side of the equal sign always happen first. So let's look at that. I've got inside double quotes, I have the first name variable, a space, and then the last name variable. Well, PHP does a nifty little thing for us. When you put a variable inside double quotes, it will interpolate it. That's a fancy word for saying I'm going to turn the variable name into the value that it's holding. So it's going to change $first name to Steve in this case and $last name to Perry. And so now it's going to create it as one single value between these double quotes and then assign it to what's on the left side of the equal sign. In this case, full name or $full name. Now the next line here, the next illustration, I have a $factor and I'm assigning that to be equal to 5. Notice I didn't use any quotes. The ideal way to deal with numbers is to not put them in any quotes at all. If you're sure it's a number, don't put it in quotes. PHP is what they call a weakly typed language. And what that means is PHP looks inside the value that's being held in a variable and tries to deal with it in its native format without you having to declare what it's going to be ahead of time. People have programmed in other languages like Java or C. You have to say what kind of data is going to be held in the variable ahead of time. You don't need to do that with PHP. There are ways if PHP gets confused and you say something's a number and it says, no, I think it's text. There's ways to force the issue with some certain PHP functions, and we'll cover them later in class. But for now, we'll just keep it simple and make the number a number, no quotes. Let's look at the little formula here. We have a little math going on. I've got the age that the user entered plus the factor, so that's 5. New variable on the left-hand side, age plus. Now here, on the right hand of this equal sign, I've got a function we've seen before, the date function. In the past, I've gotten back a more full date where I had the month, day, and year, etc. But here I just want the year. And when you give in single quotes or double quotes a capital Y, it'll bring back a 4-character current year. So put it in a variable name, current_year. I'm going to do another calculation. I'm going to take the year minus whatever I think the person's age really is. I entered 51. It added 5 to it, figuring I was lying, and made it 56. So we calculate that, and that gives us the year they were probably born. The print statement is pretty much like you've seen before. We've got the beginning paragraph, the ending paragraph here, and I'm just displaying the variable names inside here, and of course replaces them with their value. So that's just a little bit more about the ways you can assign a value to a variable. Often it's either a string or piece of text in double quotes. It can be in single quotes as well, but if you put a variable name in there with single quotes, it'll just display $first name literally. And that's probably not what you want to see. Here we assign a number. Here we assign the result of an addition operation. And here we assign what comes back from the date function into a value.